Hi, it's Nina Nesbitt, and I'm hanging out with Rob on Front Row Live.
I've been wanting to hang out with you since the first time you came out here 4 or 5 years ago. So I'm glad to finally sit with you. And you just have a big moment going on right now. A collaborative single, first time for Spotify, which, you know, the 3 singers in this single are just incredible. Tell me about Psychopath and the collaboration with Charlotte and Sasha.
Yeah, so I got an email from Spotify and they were like, we want to do this project. And we have like Charlotte and Sasha and you and mine to do it. So we were like, cool. And I was in LA doing a video, so they live here. So luckily we all got in the studio and we had like 6 hours to write a song together, having never met each other. For it to be like the first ever Spotify like collaboration thing, so that was so nerve-wracking. But we all got on so well, and like we have really similar styles, I think. But also kind of have our own thing, so it came together quite naturally, I think. And we were all happy with the song, and then it came out on Friday. So
now you guys all kind of come from different walks of life in the music industry, different ages as well. Did that, you know, did they influence you in any way when you were in the studio on how to write music, how to record music, how to perform your music?
I think everyone just kind of brought their own thing to the room. Like Charlotte's obviously the youngest, and she has like so much energy, and like she's such a fun like person to have in the room. And then Sasha's like really into her lyrics, and she'll just come out with these like crazy like lyrics that are, I'm like, how did you even think of that? And then I don't know what I do, but I was there, and
it just happens.
I just happened to be there, and yeah, I think we all just kind of brought our own thing, and I think we're all quite similar people as well. So yeah.
So you and Sasha kind of have similarities because she's a songwriter, aside from, you know, being a performer, and you as well. You've been doing songwriting for quite some time as well. How do you like the chemistry between the two of you when you guys are writing music together?
Yeah, I feel like we're both definitely on the same page about most things. So I think that helps. Like, there's some people you go into a session with and you just don't click with, but it doesn't mean that they're a bad writer. It's just like getting on with someone, and the chemistry, like writing chemistry is so important. So like I definitely had that with both the girls, and I think it's like a risk that you take going into a room with someone. But yeah, like we definitely bounced off each other a lot in terms of like melodies and lyrics.
Now, this is also a great time for this single because you just released a new single, Somebody Special. Tell me about you went to Nashville to record this one. Why did you go to Nashville to record it? And, you know, did Nashville kind of change the vibe of the song from the initial idea?
Well, I basically had these flights that I had like banked for like 2 years, and my friend was like, I want to do a writing trip to LA and Nashville, will you come with me? And I was like, I have these flights that I can use, so I'm just gonna come with you and just write for other people, or me, I don't know, I'm just gonna write songs. And yeah, so we went to Nashville for 5 days, and then I was like, I want to, like, I did a country, well, I got 3 cuts on a country album in the UK, so I was like, I want to get more into country music and like write for other people. So I went to Nashville and I was like, I want to write country music. And every session I went into, everyone was like, we don't want to write country, we want to write pop. So I was like, okay. So I was just in the session and I had the idea in my head of like the concept of the song. And it just kind of came together within like a few hours. And then at the end I was like, oh, I quite like it for myself. And ended up keeping it.
Now, with this record, I want to say it's kind of different from Peroxide, your debut album back at, what, 4 or 5 years ago. Your sound kind of changed a little bit. Tell me about that sound and how or why it changed. Are you discovering a new sound as you're writing new material, or is that the sound that you've been wanting to go towards from the beginning? Yeah,
I would say like the latter. I think when I started, I just had an acoustic guitar, so I didn't really have any opportunities to like get into the studio. I didn't have any money to like do anything like that. So when I got signed, I got to like work with other people and be in studios and try electronic music, try like pop music, like try lots of things. And I think I was like 17, 18 when I wrote that album, so I didn't really know who I was as a person. And I think you can kind of hear that in the record, but not in a bad way, just like I think it was just very representative of where I was at that time. Exactly. Whereas I feel like now I'm 23 and I've like had time to grow up and find out who I am and find out what I'm good at and what I'm not. And I think this album that's coming is like, I think it's like a really good representation, and it's like got a really good sound. Like, you know, it's the same album when you hear it. And yeah, it's the debut album, the international debut album. So I'm like glad that that's the first listen for a lot of people. Yeah, because I think it's a strong like body of work.
And are you working with a producer this time around with this album? Or are you doing it? Are you producing it yourself once again?
No, so I produced one of the songs by myself. The other ones, like, I think I've written like 70% of it just on my own, and then the other half are like me in a room with other people. So the ones that I wrote at home on my own were me sitting in my home studio, and I'd make the demos, but like not necessarily want to sit and finish them. Like, I know there's producers better than me at the moment because I'm still learning. So I worked with a guy called Jordan Riley and a guy called Lost Boy mainly, and I would take my demos to them and be like, can you make this like make this a thing? So like the producing part is really helpful to like show where I want it to go, but I would say I'm still working on feeling confident to like produce everything. There's a lot of like technical things that come with it, and I prefer the creative side of it.
I'm sure, I mean, as you keep doing it more and more, you'll get to, you know, be able to just do it all yourself. Yeah,
I think a lot of it's having the right equipment as well, so maybe.
So you had a transition like in your life, like you went from being a songwriter, a performer, to being a songwriter for quite some time. Then you went from, you know, you moved to London. How did this, within the last 4 years, how did that kind of influence or affect your music or the way that you write today?
Yeah, I think massively. I think I grew up in a very sheltered village, which was lovely. And then moving to London like exposed me to a lot of different things and different people, different cultures, different like music tastes. And I think that's obviously influenced like lyrically and also sonically. I think I discovered a lot of different genres that I hadn't ever listened to before. Like, I'd never really listened to R&B music, and so many of my friends in London would listen to that, or I'd go out to a club and it'd be playing and I'd be like, what's this? I don't know. And I had to kind of go back and learn all those things, and I think that's like really influenced the new album.
Did that kind of influence the reason for the first single that you released from this album earlier this year, or last year actually, was with Goody Grace, a rap hip-hop artist? Did that kind of influence like working or collaborating with a hip-hop artist?
Well, Goody Grace is more of an acoustic artist, actually. He's like kind of singer-songwriter, but he also goes into...
He has a really good flow.
Yeah, he also goes into that world. Like, he works with a lot of rappers, so I feel like he was like a good bridge between those two worlds. But I knew that I wanted like a rapper or a singer on it, and I think he was like the perfect person for that. I love collaborating with people, so if it's someone that's in a different world but also kind of got a bit of a foot in mine, I think that's when it works best.
Have you collaborated with anyone that's really like stuck out to you to a point that you kind of changed the way that you create your music?
I would say like every writer that I work with has influenced me and like helped me learn in some way. Like, I did literally like a session every day for about a year with a different person, and that was so helpful in like learning what I was good at and what I wasn't good at.
It sounds mentally exhausting though. Trying to come up with lyrics daily like that.
It kind of is. That's why I don't write every day anymore. But it was really good experience because everybody writes in a different way, and like you can look at some people and be like, wow, that's an interesting way, like maybe I'll try that. Or I don't know, maybe you'll see ways that you don't like, and it all helps. So
now as you're here in the States for a couple months now, you're about to go on tour with Jake Bugg starting in like 2-3 days. What can we expect on this time around on your tour?
Well, Jake Bugg tour is acoustic. He's doing it acoustic as well, so that's just guitar and piano, pretty chilled. Kind of let the songs breathe. And then I'm doing a headline tour around America after that, and that's with Jamie, band member there. Right, Jamie? And that's going to be like the full setup. So that's like basically the studio kind of bits on stage, and we kind of go in between instruments.
So the 27th is when you're actually going to be at the Ace Hotel with Jake Bugg. If I were to go to that show, is it safe to say that I'm going to listen to the new record?
Half an hour worth of it, yes. Yes.
Okay. So with this record, is that something we can expect for 2018? Are you like already ready to release the record?
Yeah, I'm waiting to record the last song, get that finished, and then I'm just going to kind of wait for the right time. We've got a few bits put together visually, and then it'll be ready.